Hey there, Autism Fitness founder Eric Chesson, leading the movement for movement and bringing you another edition of Autism Fitness Tuesday training, where I take a concept, a strategy, something that we use to great beneficial effect for our autism and neurodivergent life skill athletes in autism fitness programming, and bring it to you so that you can make it workable for your fitness and adapted PE programs wherever you are in the world. And before I get started, because I know I'm going to forget, please definitely subscribe, and share these videos with people for whom they might make a difference, whether they have never considered fitness for the autism and neurodivergent population, or they're already integrating programs, but they want that extra edge that's going to make things really click together and work both in themselves as the coach and the athlete as well. In this edition of Autism Fitness Tuesday training, I'm going to take you through my process working with one of my athletes and share some video with you of my athlete going through a session, and a couple of interesting things about this programming. Normally, in our kind of generalized, straightforward autism fitness programming template, we have our power exercises first to generate force for daily living activities, such as pushing open a heavy door or throwing a garbage into a garbage bin for that low body stability, that trunk stability as well, and that upper body power generation. And that's why we incorporate our medicine ball throws, our sandbell slams. And then we go into our strength exercises as the main component of our training program so that we can get our athletes stronger, more stable, moving better, and safer so that they can be more independent in the world. Sometimes, due to either physical or often adaptive considerations, adaptive being behavioral, motivation, and focus, we tweak programming so that it really works for the athlete. And of course, we have to take into consideration the outcomes that we want for that particular athlete. Again, the training variables need to coincide with those goals. So we ultimately want a training effect for our athletes where they are stronger, moving better, and they have enough volume, sets and reps, to perform these exercises to move past a modification and get to the point where they're independently mastering the exercise. However, sometimes we have an athlete who needs a little bit different programming in order to sustain motivation and focus. And that's the case with this particular athlete who I'm going to show you right now. So in the beginning of our session, we usually go to our dry erase board, and I take him through all of the exercises for the day. We started out doing this, and it worked pretty well. And then I was noticing that this athlete was starting to get overly focused and a little bit obsessive about staying at the board and going over all of the exercises and then checking off all the boxes and then erasing some of them and adding some of them. So it got to the point where it was competing with what was going on with the session. So we have to make a decision about what is going to sustain focus so that we can get as much done during that 45 or 55-minute session. So in this case, what I did, and this was something new that I tried, and that's why I wanted to share it with you also, not that it's new in terms of programming, but new for this particular athlete, is I combined his more preferred exercises, which are the power exercises, that's something that he's mentioned to me, with the strength exercises in what we can call a classic when, then, or contingency process. So first, we started out with a strength exercise, and then he could do the power exercise. So as you can see right here, I forgot what side of the video I put it, the athlete is starting out with a heavy sled push, which is great because it's a longer or more extended strength exercise, strength endurance in particular. So the athlete is starting out with something that requires more focus because there is a clear and definitive beginning and end to this exercise. So the athlete is pushing the sled from one side of the turf to the other, and then when he completes that, then he's doing sandbell slams, which seem to have worked really, really well because, as you can see here, he's doing these diagonal sandbell slams, and this was absolutely awesome because he hardly ever wants to slam the yellow, the heavier sandbell, because he claims that it's too heavy for him. He's just used to the red or the 2-pound sandbell. So going up to that 4-pound sandbell is a big deal for him. So that was a major achievement early on in the session, and that's within the first, 6 or 7 minutes of the session. So we're off to a great start. So after the sled push and then those sandbell slams, then we moved on to squats, which can be a somewhat aversive exercise for him. They're difficult. One of the focuses of our program of his program, which very similar to our other athletes, regardless of their age or ability level, is developing more lower body strength, and we do that through the squats. So he's doing a modified variation here, both with the band and the box or the platform. You can see that there are some bumper plates and an ab mat. Shout out to ab mat on there. And so he's doing these squats supported in a modified variation. And then after squats, we went right to scoop throws, which are a favorite of his as well. You can see the scoop throws here. So he went from an exercise that was borderline aversive, one that's less preferred. He wants to do less sets and repetitions of it. So we negotiated out, and then he gets to do scoop throws, which he's really, really into. So he gets to follow or immediately follow that set of squats with that set of scoop throws. So it maintains that motivation because we have that when-then contingency. And immediately after those squats, and of course I'm providing behavior-specific praise during those squats, he gets to do the activity that he does want to do, or that that's more engaging for him, which are the scoop throws here, right? So in both of these instances, we have a when-then contingency going from the exercise that is either neutral or a little less preferred to an exercise that is highly preferred, so that we have that balance between what we need to get done in order for this athlete to get stronger, to get more stable, to move better, and his preferred activities. And it's not to say that there isn't a benefit from those power exercises, otherwise we wouldn't include them. But at the same time, the strength exercises are going to be far more beneficial for him at this particular stage, because we need the strength in order to facilitate that force production or those power exercises as well. So here's a quick clip of the athlete taking a break. He likes using the stability ball. We were referring to it as he started referring to it as the dinosaur egg. So we were using a little creativity and gameplay and storytelling in the session. Again, this is not something that we always are going to do, need to do, want to do with an athlete, but if we can sustain attention and motivation by adding in elements that they enjoy. So with this particular athlete, if we add in the idea of pizza delivery with the sled, and then dinosaur eggs with the medicine balls and that stability ball. Here he's taking a break, so this is between exercises. Of course, another when-then contingency, meaning that when the athlete completes this exercise or this set of exercises or these two sets of exercises, then he can take a minute break, and we use a timer in order to facilitate that, because if it were up to him, he'd be on the stability ball for 5 minutes, and then we'd be losing very precious training time. So we want to make sure that it is relegated to a particular amount of time, and that time is honored as well. And that's all about expectation management, which is a big, big deal. That's something that you learn in the Autism Fitness Pro curriculum. If you haven't discovered it yet, autismfitness.com. You can register, start your coursework today, and begin your journey to become an Autism Fitness Certified Pro anywhere in the world. So lastly, we get to the sandbag carry, another great full body exercise. We can see where this has immediate carryover or obvious carryover to activities of daily living. Carrying heavy things makes us better at carrying heavy things. And at this point, because of that behavioral momentum, because he's being reinforced and he's had such a great session so far, we were able to load up more and more sandbags, and he reached a personal record of a 34-pound sandbag carry. And you can see he's perfectly stable with that bag until he tosses it off at the end, which perfectly fine. But this was a highly successful session, and it was a highly successful session because not only of the exercise selection, but the way the program was structured, the expectation management around the athlete, how much time was spent with our foundational exercises, how much time was spent with his preferred exercises, how we combine the strength and power exercises, and then of course time for a break, but time within reason, because we don't want to get to the point where the majority of the session is break time with only a few exercises, because of course our goal is to meet those goals, meaning that we want a training effect. The only way that is going to happen is to have sufficient sets and reps, i.e. volume, such that the athlete is able to get stronger, move better, and generalize those skills to activities of daily living. So I hope this has been a helpful insight into how we might run a program. Again, this has some elements of our standard programming. However, it's changed a little bit up, mostly for the athlete's adaptive functioning or his motivation. It still works. It's still viable in every aspect of performance. So we're not adding in a bunch of wacky, novel exercises that aren't going to do much. We're taking the exercises that we already use to great effect, and we're just piecing them together a little bit differently. So the ingredients remain the same, the recipe just changes a little bit. I hope this has been helpful or insightful for you. I'd love to know what you think. Leave comments down in the comments section below. It helps the old algorithm. And if there's something that you want me to cover in a future edition of Autism Fitness Tuesday training, leave that in the comments below also. I'd love to answer your questions. It's one of my favorite things. And if you're ready to become an Autism Fitness Certified Pro anywhere in the world, head on over to autismfitness.com. You can download the Pro Course syllabus. You can learn all about the different levels of the Autism Fitness certification. And anywhere you are in the world, we can meet you where you're at, so you can meet your athletes where they're at. Join the movement for movement. Become an Autism Fitness Certified Pro today and bring fitness to the autism and neurodivergent population of any ages or ability levels. I'm Autism Fitness founder Eric Chesson, leading the movement for movement. Thank you very much for watching this edition of Tuesday Training, and I'll see you next time.